Oh. Okay. All right. So waiting. That's funny. Okay. Hi, everybody. Letting people come in to the pre-stream, the pre-premiere, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I am live. You're right. Hi, Clinton. Um, no, I mean, no, I didn't. I didn't intend to push this to everyone, but hey, Clinton, right now you're the only one here, so that's the thing about the pre-stream thing is that sometimes people show up and sometimes people don't, and that's fine. I'm here regardless. For this half hour is usually reserved, yes, for patrons of a certain tier. What is the tier structure of that? It's so hard for me to keep it all organized. Obviously, the pre-premiere. Oh, it's the $5 level and up. So if you're free or if you're the $3 level, which the $3 level is really just like a, hey, here's a little something, no perks needed or whatever, then you don't get access to this normally. If you're 5 and above, you do. And, I must have mistakenly put this out there. So Clinton, I'm curious, where did you get this link? Because if I tweeted it, then maybe I tweeted the wrong link for the actual podcast recording at 10. And actually, one thing, let me see here. Hold on. Do I have? Yeah, I do. Okay. I have my audio set up properly. So now I'm kind of curious about where it showed up on your YouTube homepage. It just showed up in my YouTube feed. Oh, okay. You know what? Okay, so let me think about this. When I posted this through StreamYard, I have to, for the Patreon exclusive things, I have to switch it to unlisted. And I bet you anything I kept it public. And so it just posted as a thing there. So yes, so yay. This is a pre-stream that we normally do as an exclusive for patrons. And today it's for patrons and public. So there you go. It's a sneak peek into what I do each and every week for patrons ahead of, because the idea is the Textploder podcast records at 10 a.m. Pacific, and at 9:30 I just open up a live stream in a separate live stream that is exclusive to patrons and really just kind of hang out. And if anyone has any questions, or I can just, ramble for 30 minutes, whatever, it just ends up being what it is. And actually I do have something that I was going to show off today. So yay, it can be what it'll be. And, sometimes a couple of patrons will show up, sometimes 5 or 7. It's never usually more than that. Usually pretty limited number of people that, carve out time for the extra 30 minutes, but it is extra, it's basically direct access to, ask me any questions you want or have me talk about whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. But so this is a little bit of a sneak peek into the exclusive, but not so exclusive this week. So this has been a really interesting week, y'all. So I was on Twit on Sunday, and it was the last in-studio Twit, but it wasn't the last in-studio show. The last in-studio show at Twit was This Week in Google yesterday, and I got done at my daughter's kind of school orientation thing and realized that the show was going to be on for another hour or whatever. So I decided to swing by the studio and be there for, at least part of the last show from the studio and everything, which is, I have mixed feelings about that. My whole experience at Twit was so interconnected to the studio environment. In fact, when I went to university, to get a broadcast degree, my ambition, my intention was to work in a music recording studio. That was kind of really where I thought I was going. I took definitely an audio production focus in university. And more than anything, I wanted to work in a real functioning studio environment. And when I got the job at CNET, I definitely did that, but I wasn't like working in the studio all the time. I would go into the studio for certain things, but most of my time was spent in that little kind of podcast studio, which was a studio nonetheless, but still kind of a smaller thing. And I built that, a lot of the technology in there. I kind of crafted and figured out as we went along. It was a fun experimental time. And then when I got hired away to Twit, I joined at the Cottage, and the Cottage was a studio environment, but it was still a very small cottage. I mean, it felt like a small business, because it was, they were doing well, but it was still, mom and pop operation sort of thing. And I guess it always has been, but then, yes, Adam, I know this was supposed to be, marked unlisted for patrons only, and I ended up doing it public. So it's a sneak peek of what patrons normally get at patreon.com/Jason Howell. So welcome to those of you who who probably would normally not be here, because if you're not a patron, you wouldn't get the message to do this, and it would be unlisted and you wouldn't see it. Anyways, but when we were at the Cottage, then we started hearing about the plans to build out the studio, which eventually became the Brick House studio. And once the Brick House was underway, I mean, one of the things that I was so excited about, and that really proved to be true, was just the fact that finally I'm going to work in a true studio environment. Like, that was really what it felt like, is like, it might not be exactly the way I anticipated. I thought I was going to work in a recording studio with music. This was video, this was podcast, but, I had already at that point done 5 or 6 years in the industry, working in podcasting and stuff. And so it was really exciting, and it totally delivered on that excitement. Working at the Brick House was incredible. It was such a wonderful experience, and, like a playground for us to create what we wanted to create. And always experimenting with things, and having the space and the equipment and the money to like buy the equipment we didn't have. And, it was just, things were a lot easier to do back then. And so Twit, collected a lot of equipment over the years. And then we moved to the East Side Studios. And with that came some downsizing on gear and stuff. Twit, was kind of forced to focus on like, okay, we've got a smaller space. We don't have the ginormous basement area that the Brick House had that was just filled with equipment. I mean, there was stuff everywhere. And it was all really cool. It was like broadcast equipment, audio equipment, video games. It was so rad. And it was everywhere. And when we moved to the East Side Studios, a lot of that stuff was let go of, or given away or whatever, because they just did not have the space for it. And now we're at the end of the East Side Studios, and everything's going virtual for Twit. And I went in there yesterday to, kind of bid the live show experience a farewell, with This Week in Google being the last live show from the East Side Studios. And I mean, everything's torn up at this point. It's all, in various states of not disarray, but just being pulled apart here. I'm working on getting you a few pictures that I snapped while I was there, which was not enough, but this was Leo doing his final post-show work. And let's see here. Patrick Delahanty and John Ashley in the radio corner. That's being disassembled. The Twit, or sorry, the TNT set, because this table would turn to be sitting that way, and the mic would sit here, and I would sit here. and we had, the big bookshelf that's no longer there. It's just everything's disappearing from the studio. And so, when I was there on Sunday, and then when I was there yesterday, they were like, there's stuff here that we just need to get rid of. Like, do you need anything? So let me tell you, I took a lot of stuff. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it, but like, I've got a light shining on my fireplace now because, and I mean, it's a massive light. Like, it's so much bigger than I probably need, but I have it. Oh, hey, hold on. Hello, Flo. What's up? Hallelujah. I can't hear you though. Oh, now I can hear you.
No, you can hear me.
Yeah, you just weren't saying things until you laughed, until I got you to laugh. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm still really jet lagged.
So where were you and what for?
I went to England for the Relay FM 10-year anniversary show to be a part of that.
Oh, right on. Nice. How was that?
That was wonderful and great. And then I hopped over to the Netherlands to go to watch a Gabber Pop show.
A Gabber Pop. Okay, because you keep alluding, like, I asked you, like, well, what was the show? And you gave me some response that didn't tell me what the show was. It was like, it was almost like you didn't want me to know or something, but I was so curious. Gabber Pop. Like Gabber music? Like, that stuff? Yeah?
God bless you for knowing it, Jason. Oh my God.
Gabber.
Thank you for knowing. I know. You're the only second person in the last month who has like known Gabber. Anyway, and that's, and I wanted to be fully transparent with you that when you go live, I need to buy those tickets. So I will be doing both.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. Okay. I get it. Gabber is important.
It's just
Gabber was not yeah.
It's just because this guy is not popular in the United States, but he's very popular in Europe. So, and there's only 2 shows happening here, and it's through Ticketmaster, which is like, and like, that's why it's like very stressful. And the New York show sold out in 10 minutes this morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So everybody, we were like, oh my God, he is popular here. Oh crap.
Wow. I would not have guessed it. I mean, I honestly didn't know. Well, it's not like I've had my finger on the pulse of electronic music very much in the last decade and a half, but I didn't know that Gabber was still a thriving thing.
Oh yeah, it's through TikTok, Jason. Through TikTok. This is how because I've fully I've fully been TikTok pilled, and that's where I'm getting a lot of my no, seriously, and that's where I'm getting a lot of my new music now. Because that was one of the reasons that people wanted to be on TikTok and why we didn't want it to get banned, because it is this like, you can tap into a network very far away from your own much more easily than you could on the Instagram algorithm, which keeps you pretty tied within the interests that you're interacting with. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
Whereas on TikTok sees me as like an international user. So I get TikToks in Spanish. I get TikToks in Romanian. I'm now getting TikToks in Dutch. It thinks I speak German, which I do not. I just listen to a lot of German techno. So I get a lot of stuff in German.
Oh, you like German techno? You must know how to speak German then.
Yeah, that's what it thinks. It's like, no, I just enjoy the beats, which are universally translatable.
Yes, no, German techno. That's awesome stuff. Yeah. So when you go to a Gabber concert, like, I will admit, like, Gabber was something that I dabbled in back in the day, but I did not go whole hog into, because it was so aggressive. Like, it's such an aggressive style of electronic music.
It is. Let me adjust my chair real quick.
Yeah, I'm noticing you're kind of off into the side.
There we go.
And once we start,
yes. It is still really fast. I had the kid 5 years ago. This may be my midlife crisis. I'm totally fine with that.
There's
because I didn't get to do this stuff when I was younger. I didn't get to
fair.
do any of this stuff. And I was always into it because I had access to the internet at such a young age. And so like I would stream stuff through Real Player.
Oh, really? A RAM file. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, I kind of feel like we've already started the podcast, but we haven't. This
sorry.
is just pre-show. No, it's fine. This is the beauty of the pre-show, is that we can talk about things that are very tangential, but not necessarily about the show. And I should let you know, Flo, normally I do the pre-show kind of as an exclusive for patrons. But this week I accidentally set it public instead of unlisted on YouTube. So I have more people for the pre-show than I've ever had.
Yeah, this is great. Let me adjust my lighting here, so at least I don't look like I'm in such a dark room, even though I am.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm realizing now I did it entirely wrong. Like, I'm streaming this to LinkedIn. I'm streaming this to Twitch. I really just LinkedIn completely knows about
that I'm into Gabber Pop. So, we'll okay, see how that.
Who is the artist? I'm not going to play it on the live stream because I don't want to upset anyone.
No, don't, because you'll give people migraines. It's the kind of music. This part of my life I never really shared with friends because I learned early on in life that the music I listen to is not for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Like I always thought, what do you mean? Like loud beats, like this is so this regulates me, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Found out not everybody gets regulated by beats. Some people get anxious.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes, totally.
Uh-huh.
There's a certain like rhythm. Well, it is. I mean, electronic music is entirely rhythm based, but there's, sometimes it can come in line. It can align with your heart rate, and a certain rhythm can like accelerate your heart rate and stuff depending on your presence in the moment, I suppose. That's one way to put it. Yeah. And Gabber, I mean, what is that? Like 180 beats per minute or something?
Between 180 and 200 is usually. Yeah. But this is pop. So it's slowed down to a more, like it's still fast for the average person, but it's slowed down in a way that it's gotten a lot of radio play in Europe.
Interesting. Okay, what's the artist's name?
Okay, so the artist's name, his name is Joost Klein. It's spelled Joost, and his last name is Klein, Klein.
Klein. All right, I will. I will check it out.
He got disqualified from Eurovision this year because he did a political act, which knowing me.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about this.
Yes. I've been
Got it. Now all the pieces are coming together. And so Joost is playing in the Bay Area?
LA.
So you're going to have to drive or fly?
11 minutes. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I just have a window open on Ticketmaster.
No. I mean, if you get your tickets, you're going to go to LA. Are you going to fly or are you going to drive?
No, I'm going to drive.
You're going to drive.
I love driving to LA, Jason. It is.
Yeah, you like the road trip thing?
I do. I like the solo because I used to do a lot of solo road trips in my 20s. And now, again, 5 years postpartum, you try to do the things that help you, come back to you.
Got to get back to you.
Yeah. I actually learned this from you.
You got to get back to flow.
I learned this from you, by the way, years ago.
Oh, really?
When you took your long vacation.
My thing to Hoffman. Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
So this
you
is
know
my
you know that
version
Lisa and Leo did Hoffman, right? Do you know that?
Oh no,
they did it like within the last year.
Oh my gosh, that's intense.
Yeah, and yes, it is intense.
Everybody's doing self-care,
Yeah, isn't it a thing right now? Or was this like a couple of years ago? I feel like at one point it was like identified as a fad. It was like, oh yeah, self-care. Everybody's appreciative about and grateful.
Well, it's because we all kind of got so depressed through the pandemic, I think.
Well, that's true.
And I feel like, because that's why I was like, I got one life to live. My husband's fine with it. I'm going to go to shows.
Heck yeah. So he doesn't go with you? Does he like Gabber?
Not yet. He tolerates it. He likes a different kind of, I married my husband because we have somewhat similar music interests. Like that was a really important thing for me.
I was going to say, he really loves you if he tolerates Gabber music, because I think there are a lot of people that couldn't even tolerate it. Like they might have the intention to try to tolerate it, but it's so intense that it's hard to make it through a track, let alone a whole set of Gabber.
Yes,
In
exactly.
my memory of it, like I said, I didn't spend a huge amount of time with it, but I certainly did experience it a handful of times.
Well, and the other thing, Jason, that I think you might be interested to hear is that earlier this summer, so this summer was very much like self-improvement summer. I took a
Hmm.
swimming class, which I'm already like, I swim really well, but I just wanted like pool time just for
Hmm.
me to be able to practice my laps,
Oh,
which was
okay.
super great.
Freestyle or freestyle swimming, or are you doing butterfly or the?
Right now, I'm really focusing on swimming in a straight line backstroke,
Okay,
which is
backstroke.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah, it's actually very hard to do because if
it
you put
is.
more energy into one side, it's like skateboarding where you go off to the side.
Yeah, and then
And
you've
I
got your
never, like,
little
nobody ever
ropes
taught
on
me
the side
that.
that you bump into.
And yeah, and then
And,
you go into the lane, and then I feel like a jerk because I'm like, I ended up over here, you
and then
know?
are you looking for the flags that suddenly appear above you to let you know, all right, it's
Hmm.
time to do a flip turn?
Hmm. I still haven't gotten to the flip turn. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get the straight line
I
thing.
I have no idea how
Um,
to do a flip turn, but my daughter could probably teach me. Well, could definitely teach me.
See, Jason goes Michael Phelps. I could see that. I could see that for you.
Oh, no, it's a little late for me. Did I ever tell you that I tried to swim across a lake once? Actually, I didn't try. I did swim across a lake once, but I almost died. So there's that. It was
Was
a
this in
stupid mistake
Idaho?
on my part. No, this was actually within the last, like, I think this was 4 years ago.
Oh
So
my
this is
gosh, Jason.
post Hoffman. And I went on a backpacking trip with some guys,
I think I remember
and
when you went on this trip.
it was an amazing backpacking trip. And we got to this very secluded lake, and I remember we were all there, and I was looking at it, and I was like, that's not too far. I could totally swim that. And they were like, are you sure? Are you a good swimmer? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a fine swimmer. I'm not, I mean, like I can swim, but it's not like I practice swimming on a regular basis. So I jumped off, and I started swimming and started swimming. And then I realized about halfway down the lake that I was only halfway, and holy crap, I've got a long ways to go. And oh, yeah, I'm at altitude, so I'm starting to slow down
Uh-huh.
and all of these things. And I had 30 seconds of total flipping panic where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die right now.
Oh,
And
Jason. Yeah.
it was super scary. And then
Yeah.
I was able to pull myself out of it. And I was like, all right, my focus now is to get there, even if it's slowly. Pace yourself, just go, go, go. And I promise you, this story has not just a happy ending, but a pretty funny happy ending. And so I'm going and I'm going the whole time. I've kind of got that panic that I'm like putting on reserve. I'm like, just focus. You can do this. You can do this. I eventually, I'm going and I start to feel grass brush against my knee, and I'm like, oh, that's a good sign, because I didn't want to like let my legs down, because I was afraid that if I let my legs down, I'd start to sink and I wouldn't be able to get
Right.
back up because I was so exhausted. And finally, the grass starts glancing my legs, and so I finally allow myself to drop my legs. Sure enough, I'm tall enough to touch the ground. I stood there for, I'm serious, like 15 minutes, just totally like
Pondering.
different
Mhm.
world,
Mhm.
out in space. Like, holy crap, I almost died. Like, that was really, really scary. But now I'm on the other side of the lake, and I'm looking across, and I'm like, but I have to get back there. And like, there's no easy way for me to get back there but to go back across. And so I'm yelling back and forth to the guys on the other side, and they're like, do you think you can do it? And I'm like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk out and see how far I can walk out to like close the distance. And then I'll see. And if that feels close enough, then I'll do it. And so I start walking, and I'm walking more, and I keep walking until I'm about halfway out into the lake. and I realize, oh, I could have I could have dropped my feet halfway through the lake. I'd have been fine.
Oh, I'm
So,
joking. I laughed so hard. I'm sorry.
and so I did end up kind of hitting a deep point, and I had to
Excuse me.
swim. But I tell you what, I
Oh
learned a
my
lot about
gosh,
myself
Jason.
that day. Oh my God, it was so frightening. I
I'm so
truly thought
glad
I
it
was going to
ended up
die.
like not being a thing and that,
Yeah. Oh man.
but it's the best way for the universe to give you a scare because you had the safety net
Totally.
underneath you. Mhm.
Totally. Right? Like, yeah,
And then you're like, "Oh,
if I was
man."
going to experience that, that was the best way to experience it. Like in the end, I would have been fine, but I still got the scare that was,
You still got the
necessary.
lesson. Mhm.
And at this point, I see a lake. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I'm not that good a swimmer.
No, I'm not. Yeah. That's the other thing is the cardio is really good. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, this is a tangent.
no, no, it was a beautiful tangent, and very characteristic of the kind of conversations you and I have in real life. But I just was
Right.
gonna say that I ended up doing a bunch of stuff this summer, which we can talk about maybe for the
Sure.
podcast. But the thing I didn't get to do this summer was I was gonna do a zine. That was
Oh,
like,
what zine?
yeah. I wanted to do a zine, and I'm probably still gonna do this, just like
Hmm.
with where everything is going with my current midlife crisis.
Sure. Hey, we
I
all
was
have
gonna do a
one.
zine about like all the electronic music I've gotten into it and just kind of like my story of this genre that I've always been into as a kid and how it like relates to my heritage. And I did a bunch of research on like Romanian style and everything else. So
So then, is the zine going to be your thoughts, writings, such and such, or is it going to be interviews with people, or like what is it going to be? I had a zine way back when, and it was like interviews and reviews of music and stuff like that. But what would yours be like?
mine is probably gonna be like informative journal entries
Oh, okay.
on each
So,
genre. So it's like, popular bands in this are so and so and so. I first discovered this when I was blah, 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 blah. And this is what I was going through in my life, kind of thing.
okay,
But I'm
kind of
also
kind of
taking in
bloggy,
submissions.
kind of like
Yeah.
paper bound or a paperback bound blog.
Am I not? I am nothing but a walking blog.
You are full of content
I
ideas.
literally do blogging for a full time job. So
That's right.
it's
And you're
on
dang
brand for
good at
me.
it. All
Yes.
right.
Thank you.
So we are 3 months, 3 minutes away from opening the other stream. So Flo,
Two
you got the
minutes and
other
12
link, right?
seconds. I do.
Okay. So I'm going to post in the chat room here, everybody. Here is a YouTube link. Those of you who are watching this, what was meant to be a patron exclusive on LinkedIn and Twitch, just wait for the next live stream to start because it will. And YouTubers, go to that link that I just put in the chat. We're going to head over there right now and open that up. And we'll go from there.
All right.
So Flo, I'll see you over there on the
I'll
other
see you in a
side.
second.
All right. Bye.